So before we start, tell me what did we discussed in the last session? Anybody, whatever you remember in strategic management, what did we discussed? Yogesh, Sneha, Devendra, Nikita, are you all there?
Yes, sir.
Are so do you remember? Hmm? Yogesh, Yogesh, are you there? Sneha, Nikita, Yogesh, are you present? Uh-huh. So do you remember what did we discuss in the last session? Acha. Is very right. So, in the last session, we were discussing related to this unit number 2, that is analyzing company's internal environment. So, in this internal environment, we understood what is the strategic advantage and how that strategic advantage for a company can be developed, how it is developed, what is the process or a flow, how a strategic advantage is developed for a company, that we have discussed. And in that we have discussed there are different steps or different elements of this process, that the organizational resources is one of the important thing. So all those organizational resources may be in any form. So whatever available resources are there, utilization of all those resources and the organizational behavior, they form the strengths and weaknesses for a company, which can produce a synergistic effect, and then competencies to a company, which will lead to formation of organizational capabilities, which will ultimately create a strategic advantage for a company in the marketplace. Organizational appraisal. What is the organizational appraisal? And then different methods of this organizational appraisal we started a discussion upon. So first of all, the organizational appraisal, which we were discussing, the purpose of that appraisal is to determine the organizational capabilities in terms of strengths and weaknesses that lie in the different functional areas. So what are the different strengths, weaknesses of an organization in different functional areas? That understanding of all those strengths and weaknesses in different functional areas is important task, which is being done through this organizational appraisal. Why it is important, that also we have discussed. The necessity of this organizational appraisal is that once we understand what are the different strengths and weaknesses we have, that will help us to match the strengths and weaknesses with different opportunities as well as threats in the environment. So these strengths and weaknesses belong to the internal environment, as these opportunities and threats are in the external environment. Once these strengths and weaknesses are being understood, utilizing these strengths so as to absorb the opportunities and also to face different threats that can be done with the help of this organizational appraisal. And in that we discussed there are different forces and influences within the internal environment that can affect the organizational capabilities, and therefore assessment of this organizational capability is important. So different methods and techniques of this organizational appraisal are available, that we have categorized into three main categories. First, internal analysis. Category A, we have different techniques like VRIO framework, then value chain analysis, quantitative analysis, qualitative analysis. These are the different techniques for internal analysis. Then we can compare the performance of a company with other companies in the industry. So that makes your comparative analysis that can have different techniques like historical analysis, industrial norms, benchmarking. Then we have third category, that is comprehensive analysis, that may have different techniques like balanced scorecard and key factor rating. So in that we started discussing on this VRIO framework. VRIO framework is a short form of valuable, rare, inimitable, and the organized. VRIO. So in terms of all these qualities an organization should possess, we have to assess the organization and the internal environment on these criterias or these qualities, that is valuable, rare, inimitable, and organized. So whatever resources we have, are these resources valuable, are they rare, are they inimitable, means that cannot be copied by any other company in the market, and are they organized for usage. So all these important qualities can be assessed through this VRIO framework. This table also we have understood how we can assess any organization on the basis of these important qualities, that is VRIO. And then we started discussing upon this value chain analysis, that we have to discuss it in detail in today's discussion. This value analysis was introduced by Michael Porter in 1985 for assessing the strengths and weaknesses of the organizations. So this value chain analysis, so any organization when it is being meant for producing profits, and for profit whatever production it is making, whatever offerings, may it be goods or services, that is offering to the society, and it is generating the profits. While generating these profits, when we have a societal point of view in the mind, we will have to understand how do we enhance the value of these offerings, and to ultimately increase the value of the offerings, may it be goods or services, we'll have to understand each step, each activity that adds into the value of the final offering. There may be different series of activities that might have to be uh, performed or conducted so as to produce a final product. However, before producing this final product, if we analyze all these activities, series of activities, what all activities are there, then which are the activities we have to identify that can add value to the final offering. What are the different activities and how all these activities can enhance the final value of the product or service, that we'll have to understand. Therefore, listing down the activities, understanding this value chain, and then enhancing the value through enhancing the value at different stages and through different activities is the task which can be done through this value chain analysis. So based upon the understanding of the series of activities it is performing, we perform this kind of analysis. All the activities undertaken by the organization are interlinked. So here we have to also understand every activity is interlinked. No activity is in isolation. Every activity is interlinked with each other, and every activity adds some or other value to the final offering. And therefore, understanding all the series of all these activities which are adding value to the final product and their interlinkage is very important. So then activity starts from procurement of raw materials till the point of creation of place for final product. So all these activities which we are talking of, all these activities starts from the point where we start the procurement of raw material till the point the product is being made available to the customers. All these series of activities are important and being studied under this value chain analysis. And there are different activities which if we can see the general process or general activities which are being conducted for any of the product or service. The general kind of activities we can categorize into two important categories. One is primary activities which we perform for analyzing the value chain of every activity. And second is secondary activities which we perform for analyzing the value chain of every activity. So these primary activities which we talk about, there are five different primary activities we can list down. That first is inbound logistics, we carry out all these activities. Once we understand the importance of every activity, the interlinkage of every activity with each other, and then how do we effectively complete or perform all these activities, that we have to understand. This value chain analysis will provide a systematic way of examination of all the activities performed by an organization. So through this value chain analysis, any manager or a researcher, they can understand what is the flow of activities and what all activities are performed, and then how the value is enhanced at different stages of this all these activities. That can be very well analyzed through this value chain analysis. So look at this different activities, primary activities which we have listed. So you may take any example of any of the companies, may it be automobile manufacturing or any other product. You can correlate all these activities into these five important activities. Are you understanding?
Yes, sir.
Huh.
Yes, sir.
So can you correlate any company's operation with this value chain, that is primary activities? Anyone?
Sir,
You take
for example,
manufacturing. Please go on.
sir, like they have different departments like for logistics, for it, raw material and spare parts. And operations
Hmm.
is there. Uh, that is such as inventory.
Hmm.
Uh, then outbound logistics means they have their supply chain, their vendors and all. They supply their final finished products such as bikes and scooters to pan India level. Marketing
Right.
and sales, they have different showrooms in various parts of country. They do the
Right.
marketing and sales activity, and then service.
Okay.
Their garages, different garages and service stations are there. They do repair and part.
Okay. Okay. So, very right. We'll go ahead. We have discussed these primary activities which are in close association with the manufacturing of any product or service. So there may be other activities which can be called as a supportive activities. For that matter, we'll be discussing example of one of the company uh, after a few slides, so that this concept will be more clear to you all. What are the different primary as well as supportive activities of the company and how they enhance the value at different stages, that we'll understand through one of the good examples. So before that, we will have to understand other activities which can be called as a supportive activities, which are required for performing all these primary activities. So supportive activities are all those activities which are important for the manufacturing of the products or production of all those services. So these supportive activities can be categorized into four important categories. First is your firm's infrastructure. So the infrastructure, primary framework is very important before we start production of any activity or production of any product or service. So this firm's infrastructure may be the ascertaining external opportunities and threats. That is the beginning, identifying the strengths and weaknesses, thereby managing organization to achieve its objectives. All those different things like accounting, finance, planning, general management, and legal support will be included in that. The next thing which is required is about human resource. People are required for this process. These are the support activity is HRM, human resource management. So in that, different activities like recruitment, selection, training, developing, appraising, and compensating, all these activities are there. There is technology development of a technology for production or service, and creating, developing, improving product services. We may have research and development department, the product design, product process design, equipment design. That this third technology development can thus form a supportive activity for the primary activity. And another is procurement, purchase of fixed assets, raw materials. So doing all these supportive activities is the task of procurement department. So these are four major supportive activities which we can list out, like firm's infrastructure, human resource management, technological development, and then procurement. So all these primary as well as supportive activity, in integration of all these activities, when they are interlinked and they work together, they can finally result into an offering to the customer. And enhancing this value can be done through analyzing all these activities and then improving the effectiveness and efficiency of all these activities at different stages. So this is a diagram where we can understand how all these support activities and primary activities, they can in totality they can to work together and generate the profit for an organization. So here you can see the different primary activities which we have listed horizontally at the bottom: inbound logistic, operations, outbound logistics, the marketing and sales, and service. All these primary activities very important, very close operations for production. And then there may be different support activities which we have listed above all these primary activities, which supports the functioning of all these primary activities, that may be your firm's infrastructure, human resource management, technological development and procurement. And as it is shown in the diagram, you can see all these activities when they work together synergistically, they can produce a product offering to the customers, and through the customers satisfaction and satisfying the needs of all these customers, the profit margin can be realized. So these activities we are now able to list out and understand the interlinkage of all these activities. Then going further, we have to go again into the details, because these are the major activities which we have listed. Under all this, there can be many sub activities which may be present, or which may have to be conducted or performed, so that the final value can be enhanced. So this value chain analysis that we are talking about, this requires first of all identifying the activities. So how that can be performed, this is a process which we have listed through these four steps. First step is identify the activities that make up the organization's value chain and classifying them into primary and support activities that we have just discussed. The second is identifying sub activities done in those main activities that contribute in providing value to the customers. Once we have identified what are the major activities, then also list out and identify all those sub activities can be performed under these main activities. Third is identifying how the value contribution can be increased so that it costs less to the organization to provide the same or more value, thereby increasing the profit margin for the organization. So then once we have identified all these main activities as well as the sub activities under this uh, operations, then we have to take each activity into consideration, and we have to see to it that how we can do it effectively as well as efficiently. Effectively and efficiently, that means that with the use of minimum resources and without compromising on the quality of performance of that particular product or service. So for each activity, we'll have to see to it that how we can enhance the effectiveness and efficiency of every activity, and then identify how the value contribution or value configuration could be improved by innovatively reconfiguring or recombining the activities. So then the fourth step is to understand how we can enhance the value. The value can be enhanced by reconfiguring, modifying, or then integrating the activities with some other activities. So by all this means, we can see that how the value of the mm, particular product can be enhanced so that it can contribute more towards the profit, and at the same time it should not compromise on the effectiveness of the particular product or service, that also have to be taken into consideration. So as I told you that we'll discuss one of the example for this value chain analysis. So this example of Starbucks here are going to discuss, and for that we'll discuss all the different activities what they are doing, the different activities as well as the different sub activities that we they are performing. So how they can enhance the quality or the performance of the final product. So Starbucks, their main product offering may be coffee, and therefore this coffee product we will see that all these activities, what are the different primary activities as well as support activities, and how these are enhanced by the company so as to enhance the value of the final product. So first is your inbound logistics. So about inbound logistics, that means procurement of the different materials for production, So here the Starbucks have listed the different activities and enhanced the value of the different activities at different stages that can be seen through this list of different sub activities under these primary activities. The first primary activity, inbound logistics. In that, first is selecting the finest quality of coffee beans sourcing. So that is the sourcing part, procurement of raw material. So the raw material for this is coffee beans. So at the beginning, the first activity itself is adding value to the final product, which is very very important for the quality of the final product. That is selection of quality coffee beans. So that is the first step they have mentioned. Then green or unroasted beans are procured directly from the farms by the Starbucks buyers. These are transported to the storage sites, after which the beans are roasted and then packaged. These are now ready to be sent to the distribution center, and the company does not outsource its procurement to ensure high quality standards right from the point of selection of coffee beans. So all this process of procurement of the raw material for the product, they have their own process of ensuring the quality of this raw material through their own selection of coffee beans from different farms, and then roasting, packaging, all these, they have their inbound logistics, their own system for doing all these activities. That is your first activity, inbound logistics. Second activity, uh, second primary activity, that is operations, actual operations for production. The Starbucks has more than 21,000 stores internationally, which includes Starbucks Coffee, Tivana, Seattle's Best Coffee, and Evolution Fresh retail locations. 79% of revenue generated from owned retail outlets, while 9% is generated from franchise outlets. So, in regard to the operations, they have their own outlets. So, 79% their revenue will be generated through their own operations or through their own outlets, and only 9% they are generating from the franchise outlets. Then related to the outbound logistics, outbound means outside the company. Outbound logistics, the little or no presence of intermediaries in product selling. So related to outbound logistics, they have identified and listed the activity so as to not to have these intermediaries, so as to maintain, as to maintain the intactness of the quality. They have not they are not dependent on any intermediary in product selling. Company has launched a new range of single origin coffees which will be sold through some leading retailers in US. So related to outbound logistics, they believe in their own operations, and then intermediaries are not present in their operations, so as to maintain the intactness of their operations. Then related to the marketing and sales of this product, they invest in superior quality products and high level of customer services than aggressive marketing. Instead of doing any aggressive marketing or bombarding of different advertisements through different media, what they believe in the superior quality product and high level of customer service. So their activity or their different operations are aligned such that the product which is being offered is of superior quality, that automatically spreads word of mouth and high level of services, that the company do not have to do any kind of aggressive marketing through any of the media. However, need based marketing activities are being carried out by the company during new product launches in the form of sampling in the areas around the stores. Only in the few cases when there are a product launch, In such cases, only and for a limited period, sampling of the product can be done only in the limited area. That is the marketing and sales activity what they are looking at. Then comes your another activity, another primary activity is services. Starbucks aims at building customers loyalty through high level of customer service at its stores. And the written objective of Starbucks is, as it says in its annual report, to be the leading retailer and brand of coffee through unique Starbucks experience. So they believe in providing the best service through their outlets so as to provide the best Starbucks experience, which can then turn into a customer's loyalty. That is the kind of services they are providing. So, related to services, what are all the activities they are conducting? The main objective in their mind to provide these services is only to provide the best in class services to the customers so as to enhance the loyalty of the customers. Then different support activities. After the primary activities, the support activities of Starbucks, that includes the first support activity is about star infrastructure. This infrastructure or the important framework for their infrastructure will include the departments like management, finance, legal department, which are required to keep the company store operational, including the dedicated team of employees in green appearance. So all these infrastructure that is there in the place, the best management of different activities, very good finance, then legal frameworks and legal compliances, legal department, all these are there in place so that it can provide assistance in the main activities. It can give a very good strong framework for the main activities. Second is human resource management. Related to human resource management, which is also one of the support activities for main activities. Human being who is working with the company that need to be highly skilled. What they believe in is in employing the highly skilled people, motivated employees, and for that they may have different training programs, and then ultimately providing benefits through different compensation and incentives. It is all due to the HRD, human resource development, created a work culture resulting in less attrition in the industry. So all this which is being developed by the company, the human resource management system that can select people with high skill, motivation, and then these people are being trained from time to time regarding the quality and the best in performance, and then they are also provided the benefits of compensation and as well as the incentives so that they can work towards the objective of finally meeting the customer's needs through best service as well as best product. Another support activity of Starbucks is technology. So use of technology is another part. So use of this technology not only for coffee related processes to produce quality and tasty coffee, but also to make a shift office or meeting place. So this technology is being used by the company not only to manufacture the coffee, also to conduct all the different activities with the help of technology, may it be a meeting or the virtual office, because of the free and unlimited Wi-Fi availability by Starbucks phone app for customer service. So they also provide phone app for customer service, wherein the customers can take the services. They may order or they may communicate with the company through this mobile app. So they are making use of technology for better customer service, as well as best, providing the best product which can enhance the customer's experience towards the product as well as the company. Then the procurement, another support activity. The agents establish strategic relationship with and partnership with suppliers, which is built up after communication about the company standards. They give the criterias or perform the standards of whatever material they may be procuring from outside. They have their own standards that are set. High quality standards are maintained with direct involvement of the company right from the base level of selecting the finest raw material. So whatever raw material, other raw material may be requiring for the production, they have their own standards, and only with those standards which the raw material, whatever raw material they are procuring, if that raw material complies to their standards, then only it is being procured. So this is all about the value chain analysis we have learned through this example of Starbucks. So we saw what are the different primary activities of this company, the five primary activities we have seen, the support activities we have seen. Also, we saw different sub activities which are being conducted within this main activities, and how the company have identified all these activities, and then they are how they are trying to enhance the final customer's experience through enhancing the value of each activity that we have seen. So this is the value chain analysis which we have studied, the technique for internal analysis. We have seen two models or two frameworks for this internal analysis. One is VRIO framework, another is value chain analysis through this example we have discussed. Is it clear till now? Whatever we have discussed, is there a clarity?
Yes, sir.
Any query so far?
No, sir.
Okay. Anything that you can add in through this? Hmm? Can you add something in this? Hmm? Fine. So we'll go ahead to talk about another technique which is called as a quantitative analysis. This quantitative analysis can be financial as well as non-financial. So this quantitative analysis now we have to discuss. So when we are talking about quantitative analysis for understanding the internal environment or the internal analysis of an organization, this quantitative analysis may be primarily related with the financial aspects of a company, and this is a better tool for performance appraisal. So what the company, how is the company performing in terms of the profits. That can be one of the measure of the performance of a company. But some non-financial aspects are also important. There may also be few non-financial aspects related to the quantitative analysis that also need to be taken into consideration when we are doing quantitative internal analysis of a company. First of all, we'll see about the financial analysis. What kind of financial analysis can be done so as to understand the company's situation or the financial health, or what we can say, the financial performance of a company. The first technique in that can be called as a EVA. Have you heard of this technique, EVA?
Yes, sir.
What is that? What is that, Jayant? So have you heard of this term EVA? Hmm? Anybody? Pallavi?
Economic value added.
Okay. So you are right, Jayant. Economic value added. What this means is, what is the economic value is being added to the company, how that enhanced the wealth of an organization. That can be understood through this technique, which is called as EVA, or economic value added. This is one of the popular technique which was devised in US to determine the wealth of an organization. In short, we can understand the financial health of an organization with the help of this EVA technique. So this EVA will determine the wealth of an organization, and it will be expressed as the difference of after tax operating profits and total cost of capital. So it can be determined with a very simple formula, that is EVA is equal to wealth of the organization, that is equal to the after tax profits minus the capital cost of organization. So what are the net profits after tax, uh, and then deducting that uh, from the capital cost of organization, that we can call it as a EVA, that is economic value added to the organization. So we have one definition also for this EVA, that says that it is a system of corporate management that will define the profitability in terms of the returns on the capital above the cost of servicing the capital employed. So how much we are able to raise the capital, or how we can have the more returns on the capital which is being invested, that is being calculated through this EVA, economical value added. So this EVA can assess the capability to take the strategic action. To take any kind of strategic action, we'll have to have understanding of this term economic value added, how it is capable of enhancing the profit. That capability is very important for taking any kind of strategic actions for an organization. So that is the technique we can have, quantitative technique about the financial analysis that we discussed. Then in quantitative analysis, another analysis, another technique which we can have can be called as a ABC technique. ABC is a type of technique which can call activity based costing. Activity based costing technique. So this technique will allow to identify major activities carried out and also the cost incurred in each activity. So with this ABC technique, activity based cost, we can understand what are the different major activities are performed for particular operations and what are the cost of performing all those activities. And by identifying all these major activities and then the cost of all those activities, we can then understand how we can reduce or minimize the cost in unnecessary activities so that it can add to the final profits. And that is how this ABC, that is activity based cost, and EVA, that is economic value added, both will help the organization to identify their strengths and weaknesses for their organization. So this is about the quantitative analysis, wherein we can see some activities or some techniques like EVA and ABC, which are directly linked to the financial aspects of a company. However, there can be another techniques of quantitative analysis which may be non-financial type, which are not related to the financial aspects of a company. So quantification of intangibles, maybe like goodwill, the moral of employees, that can be non-financial quantitative analysis. It can be analyzed on the different parameters. The goodwill or moral of employees, how the goodwill and moral of employees is there in the company, that is very important for the performance from the all these employees. And therefore this goodwill and moral of the employees have to be quantified, and to quantify them, that can be converted into the quantitative terms. We can analyze different aspects which may reflect the goodwill and moral of employees. That may be your employee retention or employee turnover, how many people are leaving in the company, market ranking, whether it is improved or gone down, service call rates, how many times the service calls are being received, have it decreased or it is increased, the number of product patented, how many products are being patented if the company has obtained. So these are the different parameters on the basis of which we can quantify the different intangible aspects which are non-financial in nature, and that can make an assessment of the internal environment of a company. So these techniques we have learned, that is the different techniques, quantitative techniques which we understand related to the financial aspects, that we can categorize into two techniques. We have EVA technique as well as ABC technique, and another type of category of techniques which may be non-financial in nature in this quantitative analysis through different parameters like employee retention, market ranking, service call rates, and number of patents patented. For all this, we can do the quantitative analysis of an organization. So far we have discussed three important techniques which comes in internal analysis, that is the VRIO framework, value chain analysis, and the quantitative analysis in terms of financial as well as non-financial analysis that we have covered in today's discussion. So before we stop today's session, I would like to ask you people whether do you have any query so far in whatever we have discussed. Any query in these
No,
topics?
no, sir.
Okay. So as there are no queries, we'll stop for today's session and we'll continue the remaining part in the next session. Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye.